Hello there. Hello, everybody. I am on today to try to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening. Let me see if I can fix my background for you guys. I think I forgot how to do it. I'm going to try and see. So I needed to get on here because I hadn't talked to anybody for a minute and we need to talk. So there's one window I need to close. This one for right now. And I'm gonna go back here. And while people are getting on, come on, everybody, come on in. Can't talk for today. I am going to try to fix the background in a second there. Just hold on, everybody. I remember going to the camera, but I don't want to disable it because then that's another problem. All right, I disabled it just now. Let me make sure that comes back. But somewhere in here, I should be able to custom it. Come on down, everybody. Come on down. We're about to start our discussion today about sealed records. I got a couple questions about sealed records. It's a lot. This is the second time someone has sent me a long story about them not being able to um, or didn't know that their records were sealed. Okay, here it is here. Hold on. Let me just see if I can change the background. It doesn't look like I can. So at least blur it. Maybe it's here. Okay, virtual background. I'm going to fix this up for you guys. Turn it on anyway. Okay, so it's not doing nothing. I did that. I really wanted to do this. Let me see which one looks better. I guess we'll do this one for right now. But thank you all for being here on the Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I had gotten this long message about sealed records, and I felt the need to come on and talk about it again. The last time it was about a young lady who said that she didn't know the records were sealed. They were sealed in her court records for her family. Dealing with her child, she didn't know it was sealed, and they had sealed the records, so forth and so on. This time, someone's asking me about something similar to what we had to go through. That when there's allegations of any kind, allegations, particularly fraud, there is no sealing of records. So I wanted to get there and prove it to you guys so you all could see it, because seeing it makes a difference in regard to it. So here, what I'm going to do is, and thanks everybody for coming in and come on in. Thank you for participating in our Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I'll put my little logo up so y'all can at least see that. I had forgot about the background, so just bear with me, everybody. It's one of those days. But I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to talk about what we need to talk about. There was a couple questions that came to me about all the stuff that's going on. And my theory is about things that are happening is don't forget about my goddaughter, Wanda Satterwhite. Just don't forget about her. I'm going to leave it at that for now. You guys understand what I'm trying to say and have been saying that you can't forget about people who, just because they passed on, about what they might have experienced, and that what they experienced is valuable. It means something. It doesn't mean that you gotta act like it's so better than somebody else's, but everybody has a voice. And even if they're not here anymore, their voice is still here. That's the point, right? So I wanted to talk about very briefly the situations with sealed records. And of course, you need to know if the records are sealed. And then, in knowing that, you find out what the court identifies it with. In our case, it didn't identify with us at all. It was only about the public. The public could not come to the court and get the records, and the courtroom was closed. And each time, as I said last time, each time we came into court, it had to be resealed, and every time it was not sealed. And then when we went over to another forum, the civil law, they didn't do that at all. They did it later on, but not in the beginning, as far as closing the courtroom, blah, blah, blah. But anywho, the bottom line is this. I wanted to show you all that when there are allegations of fraud, according to the law, and particularly the law, the federal law, and also in the state that we were in, New Jersey, it says clearly, the Superior Court, the family court actually said it, that fraud dictates everything it touches. So if that's the case, and there's an allegation of it, until that searching out the truth is completed, the record cannot be sealed. So I wanted to give you statutes and stuff because I think this is very important for you to have so you can see it. And I'm hoping you can see this. I'm going to do my best to blow it up. We'll see how this works. I don't know if that's it. But we know this might be it. Let's try this, everybody. No, that's not it either. That's not it either. All right, so yeah, that's not it. So let me stop sharing that and let me try it again. It was a window that I had specifically for you guys that I wanted you to see about the whole thing with this. I might have to go back. I don't know why. I think it's here. Here it is. So here it is here. This is the sealing of a record. And let me see if I can keep myself the way I need to keep myself on the screen, because this is where it gets a little tricky, y'all. Now this part here, I wanted to get it so y'all can see it. So I'll make myself smaller. That's what I'll do. You see here, this is a federal statute. This is not a state. So make sure you got your state staying straight. If a court is going to seal the record, they will give you a statute in some regards for that state. Now, in family court, there's other things that they use, other statutes, depending if the child's a minor. And yes, we talked about that. My godson was not a minor, but they still wanted to protect him. But it wasn't unlawful for us to do anything with it because he was 18, because he had graduated like 18 and a half from high school. But at any rate, in this case here, you have the U.S. Code 1017, which is the federal that says, and it says it right here on the screen. Clearly, you can see that. So let me see if I can go to the record and look at it. It says, because I wanted to be able to read it clearly. It says the U.S. Code 1017 is a law that addresses the wrongful use of government seals on documents. And what it does is, what it's saying is it's illegal to fraudulently use a government seal on a document. That's different seals that you know about the seals. It's also illegal to buy or sell. The penalty of the seal, blah, blah, blah. But I'm looking for the part about sealing the record in its entirety so that it's not seen by people. The penalty of violating the laws in prison, blah, blah, blah. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But at the end of the day, the most part that you want to understand is that when there's allegations of fraud, a record cannot be sealed. Now, this here is talking about a record, a seal that you use like for tax records or something like that, or deeds. When you go get a house and the deeds and stuff like that, they'll put a seal on the record or the seal on the document for that. In this case here, we're talking about particularly for the sealing of a record, a court record, so that people cannot see it. And according to 1017, if there is allegations of fraud, a sealing of a record is unlawful. So I'll clarify that with you. I do know that to be true. We've already been down that road, but apparently there's another one also that talks about the actual seal, that gold seal or color seal that they use, or sometimes a seal period. But there was another file I wanted to show you about the fraud, about dealing with fraud, because some of you were asking about fraud. Now, once you get these statutes, the best thing to do is to hold on to them, because the statutes are valuable. And let me see, I can't really do that. Let's see, we do the Chrome tab. Nope. All right, let me just see if I can figure this out. I think I can do it that way. Let me go back. Okay, that's up. Good. So y'all know I got to do what I got to do here. So y'all just hang in there. So when we actually go. Let's see if it pops up. Yep, it popped up. You got to populate it first. So here, I'm about to show you the actual statutes. And I sent this out so you can see them. These are statutes from the United States Supreme Court and from New Jersey's state courts. So you have Scott's, which is the United States Supreme Court, right? And then you also have Superior Court. Now you got to just know whatever your state is, that will work for you. You'll see here on here, it gives the statute and Supreme Court for us, New Jersey Supreme Court. It has clear statutes in regard to fraud dictates everything it touches. If an order is obtained by fraud, even a little bit, the whole thing is fraud. And right here, New Jersey statute, Berger and Patterson Veterans Taxi, tells you clearly from the Superior Court or the Supreme Court and the Appellate Court in New Jersey that fraud dictates everything it touches. Fraudulent orders are void orders. So there are times, and I'm not going to go through all the details, when you're going to want to address the fraud, and there are times you're not going to, right? It depends on really what's going on. I'm going to let you see that clearly. It depends on what's going on, because you don't need to worry about it if it's not being used against you. If it's being used against you and you're having any type of challenges, then you would have to address it. So I hope I answered the question, because the question was put to me about how do you know? Now, each state, all states are not going to adopt the same thing, but most states will. You're not going to have a state that's going to come back and say, we honor fraud. They're just not going to do that, right? So you might have to go find it. If somebody is giving you something that you know is not right, and they're trying to use that to get other stuff, that's when it really can become a problem, because it's fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud. Now, in our case, we had a lot of different things that happened that led to that. People were using hearsay and all kinds of stuff, and there was no due process. So in our case, there was no due process. If you go through the due process portion of it and still run into that problem, obviously you might have to appeal it and do some other things. But hopefully, when you have these types of statutes and code of conducts for fraud or things that are, or the stealing of a record, and you put that in your document, hopefully you won't have a problem. Let me just see. I know I just got another question from somebody. I'll see if I can answer it. For the most part, I wanted to just make sure you guys knew what we were trying to do in our situation, because everybody's situation is different. And there are a lot of similarities. You will have similarities because that's just the way things are, right? But for the most part, you don't have to worry too much about that. So let me just see here. Let me see. Okay. I'm trying to get to my page so I can see if that question that somebody had for me is on there. Because sometimes I can see it and sometimes I can't. All right, let's see. Hi, how are you doing, Miss Kim? Miss Kim, don't worry. Did you have any questions for me? If you have any questions, type it in so I can see. I know there were a few people that were asking me different questions about the seal record and that kind of thing. It's no big deal. But thanks for being here. Share the information, like they say, like, share, and click. So yeah, so the most part here, you guys, you all are straight and you're good when it comes down to certain things. Now, you really can't see this as good as I want you to see it, but for the most part, the fraud dictates everything it touches. You don't need to worry about trying to prove it or disprove it. If it is what it is, it's going to show itself. You don't need to be able to use it, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the biggest thing. The other thing is, I got a question about whether Diddy was going to still be testifying for my godson. Well, I didn't really know whether he was be testifying or not and who he was testifying for, blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming, depending on what it is, that he will still be doing it. So my answer would be yes, that if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it in regard to the interest of justice, if you will. So yeah, at the end of the day, We all are looking and seeking and wanting to know that what we're doing is the right thing to do. And I believe that Kanye is very much into that. Sometimes people don't always understand how people approaches are. And sometimes we got to talk about that. That way it's not a lot of disagreements. The feelings are not hurt, because we do have to be careful what we say and how we say it, because of the sensitivities of what's going on around the world and in our community. We need to be careful. Everybody needs to be careful. I don't think nobody needs to walk on eggshells, but they do need to be able to be sensitive towards it. But sometimes people's experiences and what they've been through, they bring that to the table because they don't know any other thing. And sometimes what they've been through is hurtful. It can hurt. Me and my godson went through a lot of stuff, and I don't go through it all the time, but a lot of things that were egregious, a lot of things that were unlawful, a lot of stinky things from people who say they are good people. And it was hard. It's very hard to see because of what they did and what they allowed to happen within their sphere or their control wasn't good. So we understand it to be true that everybody's got different experiences, and we respect that, we appreciate that, we honor it. But at the end of the day, we still got to talk about it sometimes, because there's some hanky panky that goes on, everybody. There's some stinky stuff that happens. And the truth be told, it needs to stop. And depending on what it is and how long people have been doing it, it's got to stop, because somebody's going to get hurt. So at the end of the day, that's what it is. So yes. All right. Yes, I see what you're saying. No questions. I thought, okay, great. It is good to see people do what they need to do and follow what they need to follow. But at the end of the day, we do have to be careful. But thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. All those who are on the line. I appreciate everybody that's watching. I pray that you get something out of this. I don't do real long videos because I don't think it's necessary. But I do want to make sure I come on every now and then and talk about me and my godson's experiences. I want to talk about what's going on in your life. I want to try to help you. I want to empower you. I don't want you to fail. I want you to know what's going on with some of the stuff with my life and the stuff that's experiences, because it's very therapeutic for me to talk about it. Some of the things I feel like I've been abused by the legal system. I call it the Me Too legal abuse. Me Too legal abuse, everybody. And the reason why I say that is because some of the stuff was not good. And I already told y'all some of it. I don't talk about it all the time because I don't want this to govern my life all the time. But this has been 14 years. 14 years of, I call, mental anguish, harassment, all kinds of stuff for all these years of not being able to get due process. To get a real, if you would have did the due process in the beginning, I wouldn't be here right now. It's not about winning or losing. It's how you play the game. Play the game fair and play it right. And therefore, you won't have a whole lot of all this stuff going on with people trying to do what they're doing, because people don't like when their rights are violated. They don't like when you try to step on them. So that's what this boils down to. So that's all I'm trying to say, everybody. I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to say anything. Yes, I see you, Miss Kim. I said, are you sure? You said, I sure hope we all get. I agree with that. Yeah, because the thing is, some of the stuff that we went through, nobody should have had to go through. And I know we're not the only people. You can see that now. There's a lot of stuff. So 14 years, get that picture. 14 years of long suffering of stuff that shouldn't have happened at the hands of people who knew better and should have done better. So just be encouraged. So the two things that we want to emphasize today was the sealed record information. I want to keep that before you. That when you have a sealed record, it's sealed in most cases from the public. You still have what you're having your access. In our case, we have a story with that. With one of the attorneys, attorney Lisa Fisher, she gave the court one version of the documents, and she gave us another version, right? This is what we had to deal with. A lot of deceitful, dirty stuff. Now, why did she do it? Obviously, the law wasn't on her side. It couldn't have been, because you don't need to break it. You don't need to try to break it or bend it. So she gave us a document. and the court another document. It was just the opposite. So at the end of the day, we are dealing with a lot of stuff with that, but our main thing is just dealing with the fraud, because the fraud, as we said before, dictates everything it touches. So the fraud from the beginning kept the fraud in the middle, don't even matter, even though it was horrible, but there was fraud in the middle and at the end, the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you have to have your statutes, know your state, look into your state. You can always ask the judge for what rule or statute he or she is relying on to make the decision. Just ask them, they'll give it to you. And once you get that information, you can just move on from there. I promise you, it'll work itself out. It'll work itself out. Yes, Rymir's doing good. He's hanging in there. You know, he works with a group of young people, and it's mostly night shift. The type of work he does deals with young people who they're trying to kind of keep off out of the streets, so to speak. So they come to like a camp or something similar to that, and it's an overnight thing. And it's like 2 or 3 days a week. And he's one of the counselors. So it's really great to see him evolve and be able to help somebody else, because by helping somebody else, he can help himself heal. Thank you. His mother will be happy to hear that. He's growing up to do and be who he needs to be. Yeah, there are some people who were talking about somebody, the other young lady where the case was dismissed for the 13-year-old allegations with Diddy and Jay-Z, that the young lady was paid off. I don't know too much about that. All I know is that if a case is dismissed, it's not dismissed because there's no merits, right? Sometimes it can be dismissed because it was paid off or because something happened. It sounded like it was voluntary, so somebody wanted it to be definitely dismissed. But being dismissed doesn't say the stuff never happened. It just says we're going to not deal with it. And we're going to just go on with our lives, and that's a choice a person's make. A person makes the choice to come to court, and they make a choice to come out of court. So I think that people need to keep that in mind. So the whole thing about other stuff that happened after that, I don't believe none of that kind of stuff. I think some of the stuff that's going on now is not but what they call a PR stunt, if you will. But at the end of the day, we got to stop all this flamboyant and flashy stuff and all these bells and whistles, because when the smoke clears, God's still going to be standing, and God don't like ugly. So it kind of behooves us to kind of live right just a little bit, y'all. Just do your best, because you're going to reap with yourself. Keep living. And sometimes people see it in their kids. They'll find that they might have got over and got by, but then they see the same sin evolve or what do they call it? Punishment from their children. So at the end of the day, just be encouraged. Thank you so much for stopping in, and just continue to keep praying and be positive. I hope everything is going well with your life, and so forth and so on. You said I meant the lady that gave you. Oh yeah. I hope so too. You said she had the lady that gave me the different document. Oh yeah, that was the attorney. So I'll retract some of the things I said, but even though the stuff I said was still true. Yes. The lady that gave me the document was an attorney, and she gave it to one party one thing, another, and the court another thing. So that's the kind of nonsense stuff we were going through. And my whole point with that was, if the law is on your side, you don't need to cheat. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to lie. You don't need to try to get over. You don't need to try to get around stuff. You don't, y'all. You really don't. So it is what it is. But yes, so thank you so much. And we'll look forward to talking with you soon. And you said so he'll be there to turn and visit him in the Crowbar Hotel. Okay. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's good, whatever it is. But thank you for stopping in, Ms. Kim. Thank you all for watching. Be encouraged, stay informed, look at your documentation, look at your paperwork, and just believe what you're supposed to be doing and keep doing it. Don't do what everybody else do, the wrong thing, because you'll get what they get. And some folk ain't getting nothing. But at the end of the day, you can get something by doing the right thing and helping other people. I'll come on later on to talk about the new legislation that we're trying to get to help evolve the problem called Legal Abuse Prevention Act. So I'll be on probably later today or tomorrow to talk about that. All right, everybody. This is Dr. Lillian Coley on Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. Hi, Miss Cure, Miss Curious. I haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, it does seem like Mr. Diddy settled. Jay didn't. I'm not sure which case are you talking about. Are you talking about with the 13-year-old or just in general? Because there's so much going on, I can't even keep up. I saw you guys over with your friend, which is our friend, Sean. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're going to see how everything pans out with that, because that's going to be an interesting for me and my godson. I think it's going to be interesting. Now we did say, yes, with the 13-year-old, they were saying that Diddy, I get the names confused too. Diddy was going to be helping my godson in some sort of testimony he's supposed to be testifying for on behalf of P. Diddy. And a part of this testimony is going to be about other people. So we'll see what happens with that. I will be willing, Clive Davis. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money floating, but guess what? The money's not going to be able to last forever. Money can't last forever. So it's just a matter of time when they run out, if you will. So we'll see. We'll see. What else is going on out there? It's been kind of quiet. It's been quiet over where we're at, and I'm not really sure what. In some cases, I'm not sure what to expect. You know what I mean? I know she withdrew her case, and I was just saying that just because she withdrew it, it doesn't mean that her case doesn't have merit. It doesn't. Some people feel like there's been a payoff. I think some of the stuff that's going on now inside the arena with people trying to sue and all this stuff, I think some of that's a publicity stunt. Because, I'm just old enough to know better. And I think that some things that people do is just smoke and mirrors. It's not real stuff at all. And at the end of the day, we're going to find out. It's going to all come out. It's going to all come out. So I'm just glad that our stuff is moving along, everybody. Our stuff is moving along. I want y'all to keep praying, because we're going to be doing some things with our stuff. And there's been some resistance, of course. Some of the judges and stuff don't want to be dealing with stuff. If you don't want to deal with nothing, then why do it? Why do what you do? Right? So my theory is, don't do it. If you don't want to be bothered with all this stuff, don't do it. And that's where we're at with that. I'm looking on here to see if I can find this other document I had. I don't know if I'm going to find it or not, but it was another document that came out recently. I got to read it, though. Thank you for your prayers, because we're going to need it. But we're moving along. We believe that God has called us to do what we're doing. And I'm fully confident it's going to fall into the right path. Because like I was saying earlier to Kim, the mere fact that people are giving wrong documents over here and right documents here, a lawyer, and always got to break the law, shows me that something's right for us. But at the end of the day, if they would have went through the due process, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be here. But they thought they could weigh us down and then do all this nasty, stinky stuff because we wasn't entitled to due process or our constitutional rights. Yes, we were. So that's one of the reasons why we're still here doing what we're doing. And I do believe there's a lot of craziness that's going on. Wow. So you said there's a lot more information. I'm just saying to you guys now, there's more coming. There's more. Just because one case is gone, and the fact that everybody's jumping on something, not everybody, but some people are jumping on trying to expand that, says you're working too hard, right? So that makes me think there's other stuff coming. So I was told it was. They said there's other stuff coming, plenty. So I think there's going to be a mess coming. And I think at the end of the day, we're all going to understand it better. That's why I'm going to do the right thing. My godson's going to do the right thing. I know you guys don't do the best you can do for your own lives, because that's how you reap what you sow. You don't even have to be a church person or a person with spiritual faith to get that. You reap what you sow. So it's a big deal. You said you saw another guy talk and said that Jay-Z just, yeah, well, I don't think there's nothing going to come with no doggone test. If that's what you're talking about, Kim. The test thing can get somebody in trouble. Cassie's case was dismissed. Well, she was paid though. He settled hers. She filed hers on Friday. With hers was settled on Saturday, wasn't it? Because she had a $33 million request, and hers was settled immediately. You funny, Kim, with the ears. I always said it was the teeth too. The teeth, the way the teeth is when they smile. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard. Hi, Alicia, Nathaniel. It's a lot of stuff with this, and I think you guys. I'm glad you guys are. I'm so happy to be a part of the community where I get to talk about the concerns, because I'm telling you, y'all. Well, some of the stuff we was holding in, and I'm glad my doctor was like, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And every time I talk about it, it just makes me feel better. You can't hold some of the stuff in, because some of the stuff that was happening, in my view, was weird. And I didn't realize that it didn't seem like it was really happening. So that's why I didn't kind of talk about it that much, because I thought, like, this is weird, y'all. You know, people following you, that kind of stuff. I won't say it's normal, but that's just the same. But all the other stuff that kind of came with it, just a long, extended, things that people did to just stop and block. And these are not just everyday people. You're talking about clerks. You're talking about attorneys. You're talking about clients. I mean, there was a time, we were just talking today, how some of the clerks in the court office, the courthouse, told us that they were told to throw out everything we filed. Throw out everything we filed. That was in family court. And the girl told me she refused to do it. We would always come and have everything stamped. So that was the way we kept it. And then when we went to go complain about some of that stuff, the head judge, she kind of felt like she's not going to deal with it, because if it was a black judge and I'm black, she saw that as black on black. So it's a lot of weird things that has taken place and has occurred. You said Jay-Z would hate you if you was his son? Yeah. We've been going on that for a while, because Mr. Carter has had the DNA of Rymir since 2010, 2011, something like that. I think 2011. And plus, Rymir stuff is on file, and his lawyers had access to it back then. So either way, they had it. But they were coming to the court fighting like tooth and nail. And now it makes it very clear today why they were fighting so hard. Because back then, it didn't make no sense. We knew it was bigger than us, but we said, why isn't it? It's a beautiful thing to be a parent. Why you fight? Why are people fighting so hard? And the attorneys were part of this fight. And they knew things that were coming down the pipe. They knew things that were already happening with their clients and other people. And they tried to conceal that. And now here we are in a mess, an absolute mess. But it's okay, though, because I believe all these things are going to work out, and it's going to benefit us, so that somebody can get helped and not hurt. Somebody can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm believing that Rymir, going through this, he's going to be able to help a lot of other young people, young men, go through stuff too. He knows how to talk to them about the rejection. So that's what this is all about. For him, that's what it's about. And he wants to have to be accepted like everybody else does. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing to deal with that kind of stuff. But yeah. They've already done that with the criminal stuff because the DNA and all that match stuff, all that's been done. So now we're technically at a point of acknowledgement because the court won't make it. If you go to the court with that, they won't make it formal, but you can know what's going on because you get it done yourself. But they don't make it a procedure thing where it's in an order. If you know what I mean. When an order says X, Y, and Z, that's different than you just matching it up and say, oh yeah, that's a match. But that's all they're doing. So some of that stuff we had already done with Ancestry and other places. So we did what I consider the obvious. The obvious things were done. And we were fine with the results because we knew what the results would be. Now is more like the acknowledgement part of it. But the public wants what they want because they feel that it should be rectified. They feel like it should be concluded. But I don't believe that's going to happen because there's other ramifications that can come with that if somebody was to do that in the public, if you know what I mean. So that's the problem. Yeah, I think I can come on and talk about that because the DNA stuff is powerful and people can acknowledge you outside of the cameras, if you will, and the court. So some people won't acknowledge you in front of other people. It's all quiet behind closed doors. It's unfortunate. And Rymir's case, he had some of it was acknowledged in the very beginning, but then it got, sidetracked, if you will, by somebody, probably a wife. And the rest is history because in the very beginning, we didn't have the same kind of problem. But we learned over time that there was a reason why things were done this way because people could be in situations they don't want to be in. And we were never trying to get it like that. But, sometimes it does happen. But we felt that if you have so much power, right? So much power, you can't fix it. You can't do what you need to do so that this child is satisfied. So at the end of the day, I believe God's going to take care of all of it anyway. But this is what we believe. We believed in the system that failed us for real, y'all. And we believed in the person, the client, that they would do what was right. But we were wrong both times. So right now, we got to go do what we got to do. Yeah, the alleged sister, and she's not really alleged because, she's definitely, she shows her stuff and she was able to get her stuff in the system and make it public before it got shut down. The sister was working with him. She actually reached out to him first. And then when they were going to do a sibling test, she was told not to. So why would you not want that to happen? Right? So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And it's all for a reason, everybody. And this is why we have to pray. I don't really know why this kind of landed the way it did with Rymir being a part of life and history with this. But when I think about it, it's kind of weird to me too. It's weird to me, but it's also something deeper. It's definitely deeper, everybody. And it is important. But the biggest thing is what the lawful people, if you will, the judges, the attorneys, what they did to try to cover it up. That's the real problem. Because if the law's on your side, you ain't got to cover nothing up. What you cover something up for if the law's on your side? So at the end of the day, if we didn't have attorneys, sometimes we didn't have attorneys and their attorney, apparently you couldn't beat the pro se person, so to speak. Not beat him, but that's a lack of a better term. You couldn't stop the pro se person because what? The law was on their side. It was. And this is why I'm trying to come on here to help other people who got the law on their side. Just you got to do the work, do the research. You ain't got to go lose your mind. Once you have the law, that's it. You stick with the law. Don't deviate, don't change. Stick with the law. And when you stick with the law and you talk only the law, there's nothing, nobody can touch that. And that's what the problem they're having with our case. Because our case is dealing with fraud. There's no need to do fraudulent type things or behavior if the truth is on your side. You just don't need to do that. Right? Was there anything else before we wrap it up? I'll come on. I'll make sure I have a what do they call, a thumbnail or something, so you'll know ahead of time about the DNA. There's a DNA I want to talk about thing. It was a couple other subjects about some of the actual things we went through in court, and now with the attorneys, and now we know why. Some of the very egregious, disgusting things that were done, and why. But this is why I was saying about Kanye. And I'm not saying everything he does is right, but some stuff you go through, the experiences you go through, you can put the two pieces together. You can put them together, y'all, because there's a certain culture and certain group of people sometimes that in this case, lawyers and stuff, who are doing stuff and they're helping each other. And we got to be honest about that. And there's nothing we can do about it to some degree, but we can't ignore it either. Can't ignore it. So it's a lot of little stinky stuff, as they say, are going on, stinky things. You too, Kim. Come back next time. I may be on later, but I'm going to try to come on at least every day and give you guys different subjects. And let me know what subjects y'all think, because I'm going to have some legal experts who will be on here as well that will help us break stuff down. And then you guys can come on and talk. I want to hear your voice too, because somebody can get healed from you. From you, especially you, Miss Curious, Miss Cure. I know that you got a lot of wisdom in there, girl. So it's just so good to see you all. I'm happy to be a part of this journey. I think. I think I'm happy. I'm thankful that God kept me and my godson this far. So be encouraged, and we'll talk soon as we continue to unfold the plan for this journey that we're on. All right, you guys, take care. God bless you. Be encouraged as we're going to be signing out. And thank you all who are watching. Thank you that are watching. All those who are watching, please share the video, like the video, share the video, like the video. And thank you for stopping in today. We appreciate you. All right. Bye, Miss Cure. It's always good to see your face. I'm going to go see what's going on with Sean. I know he's going to be on, or he's already on. But we'll talk to you soon. God bless you all. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day too. How do you say your name? It's in John. I know the last name is Samuel. That's a pretty first name. And a John. I can't say it. I don't want to mess it up. But that's a pretty first name. Thanks for stopping in. We look forward to talking with you guys soon. Y'all be able to be a part of the whole celebration. When we do the celebration, we're going to all come together, y'all. We're going to come together. We're going to have a great celebration when this is all over. And it's going to be over soon. Thank you all so much. God bless you all. We'll talk to you soon. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil, and I'll be signing out for you. I usually try to play something inspirational. So let me see if I can find something in here that's inspirational for you guys that you can look at. I think this could be good, something going. So talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye. Focus, everybody.